Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself. Welcome to Empowerment Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Friedemann, and I have a very exciting guest today on the show who's gonna probably change all of our lives. So just buckle up for that. Because when I talk to clients and people all over the world, there's one common feeling that they're sharing with me, which is exhaustion. They're just exhausted from 2020 with all that has been going on and all that is still going on. Most people feel just that there is the weight of the world somehow right now in their hearts and their minds and their shoulders. There are all these uncertainties. There are all these problems. There are all these things that seem to be somehow unresolved. And so it's a very unsettling and ungrounding time. But what if you could all of a sudden have a complete shift of your mind, of your frequency? What if you could wake up in the morning and just feel that you actually are up for the day, that you don't worry about all those things, but that you know it's going to be okay. Somehow it's going to work out. Somehow you know that you have the support and also the resources and the knowledge and the wisdom inside of you to deal with whatever comes your way. What if you could wake up in the morning and feel happy for no reason, just at peace with yourself, no resistance to the outer circumstances, complete openness and allowing? What if you could just be present and open to embrace what is and seeing more the beautiful things in your life, the things that you actually can be grateful for? What if you could be in a place of taking 100% responsibility for not only what you do or the circumstances that you're in, without blaming yourself, but really knowing I have somehow the power to create this, and I have the power to change that. And I take responsibility for how I think, how I feel, how I believe, how I act along the way. What if this all could happen right now, that you have this complete shift? Now, I'm not saying that this is easy, but it is something today we will hear from an amazing author and teacher and master who has written a fascinating book, a book that I deeply resonate with, which is called Zero Frequency. And I'm talking about Mabel Katz, who actually joins us today from Mexico. Hi, Mabel. So nice that you are on Empowerment Radio today.
How are you, Dr. Friedemann? Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I am very well, and I'm feeling so grateful that you take the time. I know that you're very busy, and I know that there is a TV interview waiting for you, so I don't want to have you wait a long time for our time together. So I want to just jump right in there. And first of all, tell you, zero frequency is something that I feel we all need. We all need to really get to this place. But I try to explain a little bit what that means. I'm sure you can do a much better job than that. So tell us, what is zero frequency?
Well, it is a little bit of what you've been saying, yes? How you can be happy for no reason. What if you could be at peace no matter what is going on around you? Yes. What if you don't depend on people or things or circumstances to really be happy and at peace? My story is a little bit of that kind of story, because I had everything that a person thinks it needs to be happy, but I wasn't. So one day my oldest son woke me up because he talked to me angry as I used to talk to him. And I saw myself, he was my mirror. And I realized I
Mhm.
had to do something to change. I realized I was looking for that happiness and peace outside of myself, on people's, changing, trying to convince people I was right and they were wrong, you know, and again, depending on circumstances or people's behaviors. So I started my search, and my first seminar was about anger, and I wanted to know what anger came from, what was all about. And the teacher was a metaphysical teacher that invited me to join some groups that he had. And he took some time to call me since, till he formed that group. And thank God, because I was just starting, my search. I wasn't ready. But then a friend of mine gave me a metaphysical book, and I started practicing a little bit of the recipes,
Mm.
and I realized how powerful we are, that we are the ones creating our own reality, or what we attract in our life. So zero frequency, I got to what I call the easiest way, that is a ancient Hawaiian art of problem solving that is called Ho'oponopono. And zero frequency was created based on Ho'oponopono, but it's a more intellectual way of understanding
Mm.
Ho'oponopono, or things to get to balance, to get to that alignment, to get to that connection to the universe. Because I think one of the things that gave me the most peace was to realize I was not alone, and that we do
Mm.
have help, and if you let go and trust, you will be guided and you will be protected. And I think that's what we need to realize right now, to be able to be at peace and happy, even though everything that is going on in 2020.
Now, this is something I, read right at the beginning of your book about the letting go and letting God, which, as you were an accountant and certainly liking to be in control with numbers and predictabilities, was probably a concept that you didn't ease yourself so right away into. But is it, in order for zero frequency to make a difference, important to have a spiritual belief?
When
Or does it work without?
it started for me without believing, because I was not a believer. I became a believer when I started letting go and trusting and seeing results. And I like the results. I'm a person, I don't set goals, I don't make many plans or anything, and things just come to me. And I like it. I like what the universe has for me more than what I would have planned, or I would have imagined possible. So again, yes, I was not a believer. I was an accountant. I am from Argentina. I don't know if you know much about Argentinians, but we are very intellectual people.
Mm,
And
yeah.
and also I was Jewish, I am Jewish. I don't practice, but I am Jewish. And spirituality changed my life, because I realized that spirituality is above all religions. It brings you peace, it unites, it makes us all family. Totally contrary to what religion does. And something, Dr. Friedman, that I learned in Japan was that spirituality is the foundation of any successful business. They told me they wouldn't have hired me unless they knew that it had a spiritual component. Because I said,
Mm,
if I in US I said Ho'oponopono, spiritual, the people run, yes. And so
yeah.
when I told them that, they said, in Japan, we wouldn't hire you. So, spirituality is something that we all come back to when we are lost, when we touch bottom, when something terrible happens in your life. But we don't have to wait for that. We can realize that all the answers for us are in spirituality. And could be Ho'oponopono, could be any other philosophy or anything. It could be religion for some people. But be sure that you do it because you trust and you have faith, and not for other reasons, not to belong, not to be accepted, not to be not criticized, or things like that. Because sometimes we do
Now,
religion for the wrong reason.
yes, exactly. And I think a lot of people are burned by religion because of the dogma, because of, that what they were told about being the sinners and feeling bad and the judgmental God and so on. So I think there's just this openness that has to happen to not put a religion or any kind of idea behind it that you have to be a certain way, but really, like you describe it, it's more the allowing of the universe to support you. Now, you had to let go. I mean, at some
Yes.
point, you said, I'm going to give up on my business and I just going to let myself
Trust.
be inspired? Or how did you get to letting go and then all of a sudden falling into what you're doing now?
Well, sometimes it's a path also because, there is a preparation also,
Mhm.
that you need. So, for example, I discovered Ho'oponopono in July 1997. And I didn't do it to teach anything. I didn't do it to change careers because I was a very successful accountant, both in Argentina and in US. So it wasn't because I needed money or I was looking, nothing. I was happy with my career, but I was looking for happiness in my personal life. But because I started letting go and trusting, the universe was kind of guiding me. And in November of 2008, I completely let go of my career. But also, there was other things that happened in my path. For example, because I started letting go and trusting, I founded my own accounting practice. I always worked for CPA offices as an employee, and I thought that was, my place. And because of Ho'oponopono, and because of starting to let go and trust, I I started my own business. That gave me a lot of freedom, yes,
Mm.
flexibility. So I was able to travel a lot with my teacher, Dr. Ihaliakala, Hulen. But I was the organizer, I was the promoter, let's say, of something that had helped me so much. But one thing, took to the next, and I started teaching with him and everything. And one day we came back from a seminar and we gave together, and he told me, remove my picture because I'm not doing this anymore. And that was the first time I had a thought, yes, and I said, well, maybe I can do this, And I asked him to check, to meditate if it was correct for me to do it. And I got the okay to teach. But again, it was like a hobby. Yes, it was my weekend identity, my secret
Right,
identity.
right.
And then November of 2008, I remember I woke up one morning and I said, I'm not preparing any more taxes. I was so sure in my heart, yes, not in my mind. But that's where trusting is. Yes, it's something some place in your body, and it takes practice too. You need practice to trust. Trusting is like a muscle that, like going to the gym. Yeah, in the beginning it's hard. It's getting out of your comfort zone. But once it becomes natural in you, once you accept that everything is perfect, even if it doesn't look like, your life really changed.
Now, when we come back, we talk more about trusting and other ingredients about zero frequency and the path to it. And I want to ask you after we come back if there is any specific practice you could suggest to the listeners about how to not necessarily trust about leaving the job or any big things. What can they do to practice trust right now? Because I think most of us can use a little bit of that. So we'll be right back. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.